Across our planet, there are natural wonders so secret that most people will never know they exist. They are hidden far from modern life, untouched by crowds, and protected by their remoteness. Some lie deep in the mountains, some across vast oceans, and others in deserts where few have ever walked. These places remind us that the Earth is still full of mystery, waiting to be discovered. Today, we take a journey to uncover the most secret natural wonders in the world, places that show just how extraordinary our planet truly is. Kawah Ijen is an active volcano in East Java, Indonesia, known for having the world's largest acidic crater lake and its striking blue fire emitted from geothermal vents. While the surface and crater rim have been well documented, the deeper underground layers remain largely unexamined due to toxic gases and extreme heat that repeatedly disable exploration equipment. Sulfuric gas flows have shown irregular fluctuations in density and pressure without following any clear eruptive cycle, making geological modeling highly unstable. Magnetic readings near the crater often diverge from standard geophysical maps, suggesting the presence of unknown cavities or gas channels beneath the surface. Several acid-dwelling microbial species found here are still unclassified, as sample collection is dangerous and survival rates drop sharply once removed from their native environment. The Indonesian government restricts data collection around the lake to preserve both safety and the site's still unexplained natural characteristics. Aldabra is about 684 miles from Seychelles' capital and is an isolated coral atoll with no residents and no major air or seaport. The island is home to more than 100,000 giant tortoises which resemble species once found in Galapagos and Madagascar. Because of long-term isolation and minimal human impact, Aldabra has preserved a pristine ecosystem and was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1982. The Seychelles government bans mass tourism and only allows scientists to access the island under strict biological control. Although research began in the 1970s, most food chain data and biological interactions remain incomplete due to limited access. Some debate surrounds the idea that Aldabra may be a biological relic, but lack of historical records and public research findings leaves many questions unresolved. Lechuguilla Cave is hidden in a remote desert area and can only be accessed through a man-made entrance opened in 1986. The cave was formed by sulfuric acid eroding limestone from below, creating strange chamber structures and massive gypsum crystals. The entire cave is closed to tourists, and only authorized experts are allowed to enter for geological and biological research. Strict control is maintained to protect the fully sealed environment and fragile mineral formations inside. Although more than 137 miles of passageways have been mapped, scientists believe this is only part of a larger hidden system. What makes the cave unique is the presence of isolated microorganisms living without light and with low oxygen, raising questions about life in extreme conditions beyond Earth. Mount Roraima is a tabletop mountain with vertical cliffs that isolate it almost entirely from the rainforest below, creating a self-contained ecosystem referred to by researchers as an ancient island in the sky. Although several climbing teams have reached the summit, more than 70% of its surface remains unsurveyed due to jagged terrain, sinkholes, and deep fissures that ground-penetrating radar cannot detect. Biological samples from the summit show abnormally high gene mutation rates, with many species found nowhere else on Earth. The combination of terrain inaccessibility, sensor anomalies, and unmatched biological traits makes Roraima a natural stronghold against modern scientific exploration. The Atacama Desert lies between the Andes and the Pacific Ocean and is one of the driest places on Earth, with many regions that have not recorded rainfall in hundreds of years. Its surface is mainly gravel, salt, and cracked rock, with highlight reflectivity and geological features similar to those on Mars. Due to extreme dryness and strong UV radiation, most areas have no plant life, and only microorganisms survive in shallow soil layers. In 2003, a biological survey team discovered bacteria with genetic structures never recorded before, living in soil about 2 inches deep, without surface water or organic material. These zones are often used by space agencies to test robotic equipment before deploying them to other planets. Atacama is considered the most Earth-like natural model for extraterrestrial conditions, where the limits of life are constantly pushed to the unknown edge. Salar de Uyuni is so flat that satellite systems have used it to calibrate orbital sensors. It was formed by the evaporation of a massive ancient lake system, leaving behind a dense white salt crust stretching for thousands of square miles. During the rainy season, it turns into a perfect reflective surface that distorts vision and creates disorientation across long distances. Some areas beneath the thick salt layer remain unsurveyed, especially underground water pockets that may contain unclassified biological systems. Access to the central zone is often restricted during flooding due to surface instability and navigation errors. Its near-perfect flatness has caused scientific debate, as elevation data from this area has conflicted with conventional Earth curvature models. These features make Salar de Uyuni a place of both active study and lingering skepticism. The Galapagos Islands are isolated in the Pacific Ocean, located hundreds of miles from the mainland and reachable only by strictly regulated transport routes. The terrain includes active volcanoes, layers of black basalt rock, and fragmented land shaped by geological activity over millions of years. Dry zones and low humid areas create fragmented habitats that lead to strong biological differences between species separated by just a few miles. In 1835, Charles Darwin surveyed the area and documented variations in biological traits among similar species across different islands, forming the basis for the theory of natural selection. Many plant and animal species still exist within small ranges and have never been found anywhere else in the world. Complete isolation, ongoing geological processes, and high levels of endemism have made Galapagos a key site for evolutionary biology and modern conservation research. Bear Island sits isolated in the Barents Sea, about 250 miles from mainland Norway, and covers roughly 69 square miles with no permanent residents, serving as a natural waypoint on the Arctic shipping corridor. The island's base is Devonian sedimentary rock, uplifted and scoured by glaciers, leaving sea cliffs over 590 feet high and coastal caves that are only partly mapped. Norway enforces strict protection, permitting access only to licensed research vessels and environmental staff, while banning tourist infrastructure to keep the island undisturbed. Recent surveys report that many eastern coastal zones still lack detailed geological data because strong waves and drifting ice prevent instrument deployment. The absence of residents, gaps in biological records, and unmapped coastal terrain have made Bear Island a focal point for controversy over polar evolution studies and conservation management. Mogao is a cave complex carved into sandstone cliffs at the edge of the Gobi Desert, once completely isolated by dry climate landslides and lack of modern access routes. Inside are hundreds of man-made chambers built over more than 10 centuries, each filled with murals and statues that reflect accumulated culture through many periods. The entire system has been preserved in near-perfect condition due to the stable dry air and lack of natural light or moisture. The presence of a large-scale archive in a remote desert location has made Mogao a unique archaeological proof of knowledge transfer across centuries in fully closed conditions. Houtouwan is one of the strangest abandoned villages in China, where all structures have been swallowed by vegetation to the point of nearly vanishing from modern maps. Isolated on Shengshan Island, this once thriving fishing village was abruptly emptied in the 1990s without any formal notice from local authorities. While most abandoned places fall into decay, here every corner is densely overgrown, as if nature was deliberately allowed to reclaim the entire area unchecked. What raises more suspicion is that telecommunication infrastructure is still quietly maintained, even though no residents remain, hinting at possible surveillance, monitoring, or undisclosed activities. Several paths are intentionally blocked. Visitors are forbidden to stray from designated routes, and overnight stays are strictly prohibited. with no official explanation provided. This blend of eerie beauty, controlled access, and a vanishing history makes Houtouwan a mysterious site that has never been fully decoded. Oradour-sur-Glane is a village in central France where time has been permanently frozen following a brutal massacre in 1944. On June 10th of that year, a unit of Nazi SS troops entered the village and killed 642 civilians, most of them women and children, without trial or military justification. Instead of being rebuilt, the entire village was left in ruins by order of the French government as a permanent historical testimony. Today, rusted bicycles, scorched sewing machines, and the collapsed church remain exactly where they stood, as if everything ended in a single moment. However, several documents linked to the command behind the attack remain classified, raising questions about the true motive behind the atrocity. Oradour-sur-Glane is not merely a war memorial, it is a once-living community abruptly silenced with a past that has never been fully explained. The Zhangye Danxia Rainbow Mountains in China are known for their striking bands of red, yellow, orange, and blue layered across the rock formations like a painted landscape. The vivid, stratified colors are not only visually stunning, but also raise questions about the unusual conditions that led to their formation, which differ from other known landforms. Although the site is recognized as a World Heritage location, no geological model has yet been able to replicate the precise alternating patterns found in this terrain. Some zones within the park are permanently restricted, preventing detailed study and leaving scientific hypotheses unconfirmed. In addition to their visual appeal, certain rock surfaces here are said to emit low but consistent levels of radiation, though this has never been officially acknowledged in public records. With a surreal appearance but a lack of comprehensive data, the Rainbow Mountains continue to fascinate and perplexed geologists around the world. Time 3.0s. Crooked Forest is a botanical anomaly where hundreds of pine trees grow with identical curves at their base, all bending in a nearly perfect uniform direction. What puzzles researchers is the complete absence of evidence for mechanical manipulation or abnormal growth conditions during early development. Soil samples taken from the site show standard nutrient levels and composition, while humidity and light conditions are considered optimal. Yet magnetic sensors have recorded consistent micro-fluctuations in the central forest zone, prompting theories of an unidentified underground influence. Local authorities have preserved the site without disturbance, turning Crooked Forest into one of the least examined and most perplexing botanical mysteries in Europe. Ellora is an ancient cave complex carved directly into basalt rock, located deep in a semi-arid region surrounded by barren hills, making access difficult. One of the most notable structures is the Kailasa Temple, carved entirely from a single rock, with a size equal to a 3-story modern building. This structure uses no joining materials, and all elements from pillars to domes and decorative statues are part of one solid piece, with no visible signs of construction stages. It is estimated that tens of thousands of tons of rock were removed, but no records or archaeological remains show any tools or leftover stone debris. While some documents suggest the site was built over many centuries, they cannot explain the precise and consistent geometry throughout the temple. The presence of intricate details carved in dark spaces without artificial lighting raises questions about whether lost construction techniques were used. Devil's Kettle sits in northern Minnesota forest land, far from settlements, and reaching it requires hiking almost 3 miles on a rough trail. The waterfall splits into 2 streams, and one plunges into a deep, granite hole, where the water vanishes from sight. Since the early 20th century, researchers have dropped dye and small traces, but none have been recovered downstream. So theories about hidden caves or ancient fissures remain unrefuted. Approaching the waterfall edge is forbidden. The trail is often closed in winter because of ice danger, and all research visits must be registered with state officials. The lack of underground data, together with a long record of failed experiments, keeps Devil's Kettle classified as a rare hydrological anomaly that continues to spark scientific debate. Okavango Delta is a rare inland delta that does not reach the ocean but ends in a semi-desert where the water either seeps underground or fully evaporates. Each year, floods from higher ground create a shifting system of rivers and swamps that can turn dry land into wetlands within weeks. The water disappearance mechanism, without a clear outlet, remains a debated issue because no detailed 3D map of the underground channels exists. Automatic survey equipment is limited due to harsh conditions and strict conservation laws. The area is tightly regulated, and visitors may only enter with licensed tours using boats or small planes and must be accompanied by a guide. There are no connected roadways across the delta, and all filming or research activities require separate registration depending on the zone. Wulingyuan features over 3,000 vertical sandstone pillars, each rising from several dozen to over 650 feet and standing fully separate from one another. These formations were created over millions of years, not by tectonic activity, but by acidic rain and seasonal temperature shifts breaking sandstone layers vertically. The even distribution and nearly symmetrical shape of the stone columns have led researchers to suspect unique geological factors, though no clear conclusion exists. Tourist access is strictly limited, and visitors may only use electric shuttles or cable cars along fixed routes with no direct contact allowed with the pillars. Some core zones have never been fully surveyed due to dangerous terrain and strict conservation policies. There is still no complete three-dimensional geological model of the underlying sandstone base, which makes long-term stability assessments difficult. Sossusvlei is deep in the Namib Desert, Far from towns and not connected by paved roads, and access requires crossing sandy dirt tracks under constant heat. The landscape features a cracked white clay basin surrounded by red sand dunes reaching up to 984 feet, creating strong contrasts in color and terrain. This area once had seasonal floodwaters, but changes in terrain and sand accumulation blocked the flow, turning it into a dry basin with no moving water. In 2011, scientists found pollen traces of moisture-loving shrubs in ancient sediment layers, proving that the area once had a greener ecosystem before drying out. The extreme dryness, stable landforms, and centuries-old standing dead trees make Sossusvlei one of the world's most unusual and unchanged desert landscapes. Lake Kaindy is known for its upright spruce trees rising through the surface, appearing like a submerged forest frozen in time. Formed after a landslide triggered by a 1911 earthquake, the lake's origin is less puzzling than its preservation qualities. Branches beneath the water remain intact and colorful after more than a century. This has led to theories about mineral content or microorganisms in the water acting as powerful preservatives. During a 2015 diving expedition, researchers aborted their mission due to abrupt water pressure changes and equipment failure within minutes of descent. Reports have also described intermittent electromagnetic disruption near the lake bed, interfering with standard navigation instruments. Though designated as an ecotourism site, large sections of the lake remain off-limits to independent scientific research. Tsingy de Bemaraha is a natural limestone formation with thousands of razor-sharp rock spires forming a nearly impenetrable natural labyrinth. Many core areas have never been stepped on by humans due to extremely hazardous terrain and the ineffectiveness of standard surveying tools. Some vertebrates and insect species have only been observed via fixed cameras, with no live samples ever collected for research. The narrow and deep stone crevices interfere with modern positioning equipment, causing mapping inaccuracies. The government of Madagascar has strictly limited open tourism and access to deep zones to preserve the structure's natural state. Several international survey teams have been stranded for days within the rock formations and had to use special satellite signals for rescue. Mount Athos is an isolated peninsula with tightly controlled access for over 1,000 years, and to this day, some areas have never been officially surveyed by science. All entry requires special permits, and women are completely prohibited, meaning half the global population is barred from entering the region. Behind the ancient monasteries lie tunnel systems, rock chambers, and secluded valleys that have never been fully mapped. Over the years, plant researchers have reported unclassified microbial clusters but were denied access deep enough to collect replicable samples. Wireless systems such as satellite phones and GPS consistently experience signal lag and data loss when approaching the forested interior. The combination of unique legal restrictions, blocked biological research, and unstable technical data makes Mount Athos not only a closed religious site, but a scientific blind zone. Mount Athos is located at the tip of a narrow peninsula in northern Greece, entirely separated from the mainland by steep terrain and rugged coastlines, making access limited and strictly controlled. Unlike any other mountain in Europe, it functions as a special autonomous region with civilian restrictions and a centuries-old ban on the presence of women since the 11th century. Its high elevations, dense forests, and complex limestone cave systems have left many areas still unexplored. In 2003, a geological team recorded an unusual concentration of rare minerals at the mountain's eastern base, but could not proceed due to administrative and religious limitations. Satellite data has also shown portions of forest with signal interference or abnormal reflection patterns, sparking theories about hidden geological features. Its long-term isolation, strict access rules, and uncharted internal zones make Mount Athos one of the most intriguing and inaccessible locations in Europe. Manu National Park lies deep within the Amazon and the Andes, where no continuous road exists, and most areas can only be reached by motorboat or light aircraft. Its ecosystems range from cloud forests to primary rainforests, with dense vegetation cover that blocks sunlight in many areas. Manu was designated a biosphere reserve in 1977 and is home to isolated indigenous groups that have never had contact with the outside world. In a 2011 expedition, scientists recorded low-frequency sounds occurring nightly for several days, unmatched by any known animal sound pattern. Due to high isolation and harsh conditions, most of the park's territory remains unsurveyed in detail. The rate of new species discovery here is the highest in South America, making Manu a biological black box still waiting to be fully unlocked. Fiordland National Park is located in the southwestern corner of New Zealand and is one of the most remote and difficult-to-reach regions due to its steep cliffs, glacier-carved valleys, and a dense network of narrow fjords. The landscape is defined by deep-sea inlets, dark-colored waters, waterfalls dropping from hundreds of feet, and wet temperate forests covering the mountain slopes. This area was believed to be untouched by humans until the late 19th century, when explorers recorded regions with no signs of human activity or natural trails. This phenomenon remains unexplained and has raised theories about isolated ecosystems within the fjords. The combination of rugged terrain, unique scenery, and unexplained biological events has made Fiordland a research priority for many international scientific teams. On an isolated plateau in Laos, thousands of hollow sandstone jars, ranging from 3 to 10 feet in height and weighing between 4,000 to 28,000 pounds, are scattered in irregular clusters without a clear orientation pattern. These jars lack fitted lids and are not associated with any nearby settlements or architectural remains, leaving a major gap in understanding their original purpose. Based on bone fragments, pottery, and metal tools found in some jars, many researchers believe the site was used for burial rituals dating from 500 BC to 500 AD. However, there is still no consistent evidence explaining their intended function or how the massive jars were shaped and transported with early manual techniques. The absence of written records, unknown quarry sources, and unresolved production methods have made the Plain of Jars a long-standing archaeological controversy. Rennes-le-Château is located on a remote hill in southern France, surrounded by rocky mountains and deep valleys that make access difficult, especially during cold seasons. From the village, you can view the surrounding area, which is often covered in thick morning fog, giving a clear sense of isolation from the modern world. In the late 1800s, a priest named Bérenger Saunière arrived and began building strange structures using an unknown source of money. Within a few years, he constructed an observation tower, a chapel, and several buildings with unusual symbols and shapes not common for that period. After Saunière's death, many treasure hunters and researchers came to dig in hopes of finding hidden documents or valuable treasures. Although no clear evidence was ever found, many theories suggest the site may have held sensitive information or treasures related to religion or royalty.